1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up, besties? Welcome back to another episode of IEM Bestie. As always, we are your hosts, Stephanie
and Vanessa. They don't have a... He
doesn't have a bigger table. He said he was going to get a coffee table. And
Where is
he
it?
did not. Where is it? Tell him.
Men are liars. Don't believe anything they
Always. Dude, isn't it crazy how men just lie?
It's not crazy. At this point, it's like part of their nature.
It's very easily believable.
Yeah.
Guys, last night, me and Vanessa went to an escape room. And they gave us 2 extra minutes.
But we made it. Yeah. The guy, I think he said he gave it to us because he said other groups, they don't work together. Mm-hmm. And usually there's like a leader that's doing everything and they don't work well together. But he said that all of us, like there wasn't no leader in our group. Like everybody was solving things. Everybody was working together. Like we were really trying hard. And he was like, and you guys were like almost there. He was like, so I just gave you like an extra 2 minutes.
What do you think that is? Like, why do you think sometimes like someone feels like they need to take the lead, or like in what dynamic it feels like we can all like work together?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like all of our personalities that were there were very confident. You know, I feel like we're all very confident. We're all very sure of ourselves. And,
that's
you know,
true.
We're not afraid to take up space. We're not afraid to say what's on our minds. Like,
right.
We're also very trusting of each other. We love each other. You know, I feel like we also get along great. So I feel like that created the space for us to all feel like we could do it, you know? And I also hate, like, well, I don't hate it, but I don't like playing games with people that don't take it seriously. Like, I know they're just games, but
that's literally what it's for.
Let's get into it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we paid $40 to fucking do this.
Yeah.
Well, Stephanie paid it for us. Spoiled us. But you know what I mean? Like, we're spending our money on this. Might as well, like, really try, you know? And I don't know why some people just don't try, and I don't know. That's a whole nother topic of why people don't like to try.
No, but you know what's crazy that you were saying right now? That because sometimes when everyone is sure of themselves or like very, you know, I feel like we have very strong personalities, like all of us. Like, I guess it just comes back down to the jealousy part. Like, you know, like you said, like we love each other. Because I hate when there's people who are very opinionated but cannot like stand another person who's also like has the same personality. Yeah. And they feel, if anything, threatened by it. Yeah. And I think, what was her name? That girl. Sal sent us a video of this girl who's talking shit about Becky G. Because she's saying that she's the first Chicana, like, artist, right?
I don't think she said that, but
she was, like, giving the implication. But I just feel like, if you're sure of your music and someone's already kind of paving the way for you, like, you don't have to knock anybody down. And I think that's a very Latino thing. Trait. Yeah, a trait for sure.
And it's insane because I've never seen or heard of this girl in my entire life.
Y'all, who is she?
Do you know who she is?
I don't.
That's how I'm like, who? Roll the clip. Yeah. I don't know if you can post it.
Yeah, I'll
just
post it on here.
They can see it just in case they haven't seen it. I don't want to say that's what she said because we only saw a little clip of the live and we didn't see the whole live, so I don't know exactly.
But she was giving hater vibes. She was like, name 5 Becky G songs.
Yeah, she was for sure giving hater vibes. She was for sure not giving Becky G her credit. You know what I mean? Like, and I just feel like that's crazy because she is Chicana. She claims that, she reps that. She makes music, American music and Latino music. You know, so that is literally like what Chicana means. So I think that. And to say, like, what are her 5 songs is beyond crazy to me because she literally has so many fucking great songs. Yeah. Like, this bitch is, like, iconic. Like, I love her. So it's like, what the hell? Like, where are you living under a rock? Like, but that's insane.
And not even that. Why are you burning a bridge before you even get there?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you're trying to get to that level, why would you talk down on someone who's beyond even where, like, most people can even imagine right now.
Exactly. Like, you'd probably want to collab with her one day if you ever got to that point.
Exactly.
And I'm pretty sure if she were to, like, if you were to run into her tomorrow, you'd be like, oh my God, I love your music. You know what I mean? It's like that fakeness. Yeah. You know? And it's like, it's sad because I feel like a lot of people truly don't understand. They say more about themselves than they think they do when they say things like that, like being very hateful and negative and jealous. Like, that's what those comments reek of, and that sucks because I feel like that is counterproductive to you wanting to do something, especially in that field. You know, not only to like the people that you're going to work with in that industry are seeing that in you, and that's already ugly. But like energetically, I feel like when you want to accomplish certain goals and you all you do is like be negative about people that are already in that space, it's gonna come back to you. Like that's not gonna help you get further. Like
Right.
and I just feel like that sucks. Like
And it's stupid because if she's trying to bring awareness to Chicano like culture and music and whatever, like that's what I'm saying. Like I just like you said, it's counteractive.
Exactly.
Like why is anyone gonna follow you if you're getting there by knocking people down?
Yeah, and literally like, and it's so upsetting. Like you're saying, like it's we see it a lot in like the Latino culture. I know we see it in every single culture, you know, but I feel like obviously we're Latinos and we see it a lot, and it's just very upsetting because we're so hardworking people, you know, like we have big dreams and we do what it takes to try to get to where we need to be, and it's so sad that we have that hardworking aspect, but the community aspect where we uplift each other and help each other out and, you know, feel like there is space for everyone, like is very like lacking. And also, even if scenarios do happen where people are uplifting and like help each other out, you don't hear it as often. And I also feel like that's another thing that kind of I wish would be like spoken of more. I want to hear more too about moments where people are uplifting each other. Like I feel like I only hear about people only ever tearing each other down. I don't really ever hear people uplifting each other. And I'm sure it happens, maybe not as often, but I'm sure it does. But it's like I don't know, I feel like it's like, you know how they say like whatever you hear and like listen to or watch, it's kind of like programming you. So I feel like if maybe we heard more stories of people uplifting each other, it'd probably be infectious. You know, like even if not like consciously, maybe subconsciously, it'll probably urge us to be like uplifting to others.
Or if it is being uplifting, it's already because that person was already knocked down by someone else. Like I feel like we only come when it's like to the rescue. Like it's like, oh wait, someone. And I think Americans are like that too. Like we talk shit about Americans all day long, but someone from another country is like, fuck Americans, and they're like, wait a minute, excuse me. And that's how I feel like it's a little bit in the Latino culture. Like you hear about it once someone already like try to bring this person down. It's like, wait, don't fuck with us Mexicans. Only we can fuck with each other. Yeah.
No, I really do have that mentality. It's like siblings, you know, right? It's like I could fucking talk shit to my sibling, but like nobody talks shit to my sibling. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know, and I mean, and I get that. At least there's some moments where we come together, but I do believe that for the majority, you know, I've seen a lot of, you know, also great examples of like the community uplifting each other, and like I do feel like it's getting better, but definitely when I like this whole episode with this girl, you know, trying to tear Becky G down, it is upsetting, especially when it's happening in such a public way, because it's like, girl, come on, like be better than this. Like we're in 2023, like the internet exists, like there's room for everybody. Like I feel like that's been proven more now than ever that if you really want something, you can make it happen, but you have to have like good energy, you have to have like good like a positive like mentality and like just positive energy, and like it's just how can you not?
And realize that you're really only in competition with yourself.
100%.
Because I mean, I hate to bring up like old drama, or it's not really drama, but I remember Snow was on I and Friends, and then she went on another podcast from LA, and the podcast from LA was like, oh, like who do you like better? And Snow, I don't remember exactly what she said. I'll look for it.
She said I like both, I think.
Yeah, she was just saying like we don't need to, like it's not a competition within each other. You know what I mean? And I really really like the way she worded it. I'm gonna roll the clip. No. I'm gonna snip it because it is. She said something like that. It's not. There's love for everybody.
Exactly.
And but it's just I don't know what it is with ego. Like there always has to be a number one.
And it's sad that people feed into it. You know what I mean? Like I know there's some people that don't that like agree with that mentality. Like there's room for everybody, but I feel like for the most part too, like everyone's ego is like. I guess people want to feel special. They want to feel like good, and I feel like when people are saying good things, like a lot of people that rep LA, and I know a lot of people that rep IE too, you know, se crees, and when they like, oh, IE this is better, or like, oh, LA is better, you know, like they kind of feel that like, ooh, like I'm a part of something that's better, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like that whole ego thing. It's like, no, like dude, like we're literally all on a floating rock, babe.
Yes.
Like these are all like social constructs, like they're not real. Like,
and honestly, my ego gets fed so easily. One person could comment, love steps this, and I'm like, oh my god, like that's enough for me. That's why I like when people are like people who make music, they're like, oh, if one person listens to my song, like that's good enough. And I'm like, that's so sweet, like that's such a sweet thing to say. But obviously when you get to a certain level, you want to be number one. But you could be number one at so many things. We're going to be number one on being the dumbest bitches online.
You could be number one in my heart.
That's funny.
No, yeah, but...
We're getting some bomb-ass
What is this? Fruit salad?
A fruit salad.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to the people that sell fruit in the calle.
Yeah, he really came in clutch with that, to be honest.
I've been having a rough few days, guys. This is the best part of my days.
You want to talk about it?
Dude, I don't... Okay. I just genuinely... This is just not cutting it. My mal de ojo. I need like 3 more. Cheers to that.
Yeah.
I feel like I need a limpia, but I'm scared. I'm scared to open that like pathway.
Yeah. Because you didn't grow up with that, huh?
Mm-hmm. So I'm like not sure how to even approach it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have been having so much negative energy around me that I am no longer in a headspace where I can clear it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I'm like, oh my God, like I need someone to be like, this is what's going on. This is the energy that's around you. Take this. I'm gonna do a limpia for you right now. Pásame un pinche huevo. Like, I don't know what to do because and it's like I was telling you earlier, it's little stuff that's happening to me that's so stupid, but that affects me so hard that I don't know how to like pick myself back up from it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know, like maybe I need to see a shaman or like a medium or something, but I got to do something.
Stay tuned for the Patreon, guys, where we are going to do a DIY huevo limpia.
Yes!
And we're going to figure this shit out.
I'm going to put the camera, I'm going to lay on the couch and me vas a pasar el huevo.
And whoever is sending my girl negative energy,
please stop.
We're going to find you. And you will be dealt with.
We give the Liam Neeson speech. I have a certain set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a long career. Have you ever gone to like a limpia?
No, I haven't. My mom did one time, but
she didn't tell you about it. Like,
no,
you shouldn't have the guy's number.
I actually think she will because it was recent. Actually,
really?
Yeah, I can tell you for sure.
Oh my God! But see, how do you know? Like, how do you pick a good one?
And how do you know if you could trust it?
Yeah, and how do you know he's doing what he's saying he's gonna do?
Yeah, and also like try to think of it like sometimes when I think about that kind of I guess those practices, I always think to myself like, what is because I'm not doubting it. Like I know like stuff like that exists and it works for people. You know, that's their culture.
Yeah,
it's what they know. They grew up on it. Sorry, let me move this real closer. But sometimes I wonder, like the acting, like you know, like the placebo effect. I'm not saying. I'm just throwing like theories here. I'm not saying this is what it is. You know, I'm just trying to think of it because it's amazing to me how, like, for centuries people like believe in this kind of like magic in a sense, you know, and it's a big part of people's lives. Like people literally get limpias like every week type, you know, and I've always been amazed by that because to that people like it's an essential part of their routine of their lifestyle, and I wonder what they think when they look at people that don't do that, you know, like it's not a part of their life. I wonder if they look at us and they're like, maybe like, you know what I mean, like you just said you had a bad couple of days. Like I wonder if they look at you and they think like, you need a limpia,
like,
or
this is what you need,
this is why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just wild to me because sometimes I think to myself, what if, you know, it's kind of like the placebo effect, you know, where because you maybe are going through it so bad, you feel like you're in a low place, so you kind of feel like I'll take anything, like I'll do anything that'll help me. So you strongly believe that this like ritual is going to help you. You know what I mean?
I get what you mean,
and because you believe it so strongly, because you're just that desperate and you just want to feel better and you just want things to go back to how they were, you just want to get back like on track, you like kind of like mentally reframe like what's going on in your life because of this like ritual, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe it's really not the ritual, it's just the fact that
your brain was like, okay,
happen.
after this I'm gonna be clean.
Exactly, like you truly believe it, like after this it's gonna get better.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes I wonder, maybe you don't need that limpia, you know, maybe you just, but you kind of do, you know what I mean? Like you need something to happen because otherwise
to convince yourself
that it's gonna get better, because otherwise you're just not gonna feel it. You know what I mean? And we need to feel it. We need to believe it in order for it to come to our reality. And if we don't feel it, we don't believe it. It's not gonna happen. We're gonna keep having those shitty like.
But also maybe that's literally the point of the ritual.
Exactly.
To open your mind enough to help allow yourself to cleanse.
Exactly. And then in that case, then I feel like anything can be a ritual. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's
like
true.
It doesn't necessarily have to be like an egg or you have to go see someone. You just have to create something for yourself.
Yeah.
And this is a theory, you guys. I'm not knocking. You know, like I don't want to say like, you know, like do what works for you, obviously, but because you're right, it's not just an egg. You said like there's people that like brush stuff over themselves or like even metaphorically, you know, like I've seen people just kind of like cleanse their like they do this,
just grab and toss it.
Exactly, like you grab and toss, you know what I mean? And that's
no, it's true because like whenever, but I don't know, I do believe in it mostly because I know a lot of people, like I know people who I guess can read other people's energies. But mostly because my mom gets a lot of massages, and like with massage, I don't obviously. This is from Mexico. Like these are people from Mexico. I think it's called Reiki or something like that. It's like a massage where it's also like dealing with energy. Yeah, and I know a lady who does that. But when they were like she was telling my mom like when they were teaching her and stuff, like a lot of people from there kind of navigate towards like the negative, like more black energy kind of stuff because it's obviously more powerful. And she told my mom like I didn't like that, like I didn't want to do that, so I kind of strayed away from it. But like because I think it's one of those things where like that's why I'm scared, because you can't accept the good and not the bad. So if I'm already opening the door to the good, then obviously it's gonna come with the bad as well. Like the possibility is still there. So I'm just kind of like, oh my God, that's scary. But also like even when you give someone a massage, like a head massage, like you're supposed to shake your hands off because you're already transferring energy from them like to you. Ooh. So like if you're like rubbing someone's head or doing whatever, like you're supposed to shake your hands off, like to like shake off that energy. Know, yeah.
I'd be doing that sometimes.
You be giving people head massages?
Yeah, like little head scratches and shit.
Yeah, because you absorb all of that.
Damn.
So who knows? I want to get into it. I really do. But
it makes me sad to think about all the beautiful like traditions that have been lost over the centuries because of colonization and just like murders of like our land, of the people, and like the land has changed so much because of all these new societal norms and everything. And it's just it's crazy to think that back then we had so many beautiful traditions and rituals and like languages that just have gotten lost over time because of widespread, you know, religion that's like being brought. And sometimes it makes me question, like, you know, back in the day, like in the pagan ways when they used to like sacrifice animals and stuff like that and like do the most. Yeah. Like little things like that to kind of like offerings and, you know, to ask, you know, just all of these things that make me wonder, like, what is there a different way of like living
100%
that could have been like better for us, you know?
Probably. And it's so funny right now that you said that about like religion and stuff, because I just saw a video of people talking about how you know how like Mormons go to like third world countries and they build them schools and churches or whatever, and they're there for like a few months. And the video was, I don't even know where I saw this, but I remember it saying like the effect it has once they leave. Because once they leave, like the people there are left with like, oh, like, so you came, took a bunch of pictures, and now you're gone. So you really didn't care about us. Like you just came, which is so weird to me. Like, how are you going to go preach Jesus and then abandon people? And it's so random because why? Like, why do you feel like your religion is the correct one, that you feel like you need to go completely disturb someone's natural way of living and then just leave and be like, okay, well, that's the way to do it. See ya. And that's what I was thinking about Hawaii too, because I keep telling everyone, like, I morally, I cannot go to Hawaii. Like, I'm never going to go.
Oh, really?
Because I just can't get over the fact, like, the fires, I know it's all because of tourism. And every time I tell someone that, they're like, oh, but you know they need tourism, like, for the economy. Like, you know that's what's sustaining them. And I'm like, you know that...
They were perfectly fine without tourism.
Yeah, they didn't need us. Like, they've been there for, like...
a long time.
Hawaii became a state, I think, in, like, 1959, 1960. So, it really wasn't that long ago. So, why do you assume that you're the reason that... Hawaii is like, you know, sustaining itself. Like they don't need, and then they'll be like, well, how are they going to survive then? I'm like, bitch, people survive off their land. Like you don't need, like you said, like capitalism. You don't need that. Like people can survive off of their own land.
Yeah.
Which is dumb because it's like people who go, like white people who go live in like a fucking forest.
Yeah.
And they just like make their little farm and they're literally living off of their own land. Like why do you think that people that are indigenous to a native land, like they're stupid or they can't do it without you? Like why do you think we need you?
And it's tough now because, like, I understand. Like, if I'm like, I understand like that sentiment 100%. But now because like corporations have taken over there, and built so many like touristy areas and hotels and stuff. Like now they are dependent. Like it's gonna be like impossible to take all those people out. You know what I mean? So it's like now they do depend on those. Like they're like tied with that stuff there. You know? Like and it's like damn.
But it's annoying because that's like. I don't know. Fuck. I'm having a crisis right now. I want all the bad in the world to disappear.
I hate when you're having those days where you just kind of feel like, you know, you're going through it. So then you just think about all the shitty shit in the world. And you're just like, ugh, like the world sucks.
I know. Like, how can I think of something positive when look at all this bad?
Yeah. I felt that. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
That's when that happens, you guys. Just pop out a beer.
Or you can pop out a salud. With their new flavor, strawberry kiwi. Dude, this is the best flavor. I'm not gonna lie. It's brand new, guys. It's a collab with
Laura
Mellado. She's so beautiful. But look at how cute these cups are. But no, seriously, this flavor is the Energy and Focus. Has 200 milligrams of caffeine, 350 milligrams of theanine, B6 and B12 vitamins. It's 1 gram of sugar, but no joke, this flavor is my new favorite. Like, it's so delicious.
We say that about every flavor because they're so good.
I know, every time I try a new one.
They're so good.
As of now, this one's my favorite.
No, it really is good, you guys. And we would not, and we're not saying this for just like because we're sponsored by them or anything. No, I swear, you guys, they're really fucking good. Like, I'm sorry, but I love this whole podcasting journey, but you could not pay me to lie. Like, I just would feel guilty, honestly. Like, I would feel so shitty saying that something is good, knowing that you guys are gonna spend your hard-earned money on it just for you guys to get it and be like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, which is really great that, like, honestly, like, everyone from Salud is so genuine and their product is so delicious. Like, what they're advertising is what they're selling, which is amazing. Yeah,
Josh and Taylor are doing an amazing job. Congratulations, you guys, on your brand. You guys are killing it. Yeah. You guys are doing so good. And congrats to Laura as well on the collab.
Yes, you guys, you can get this on their website, tastesalud.com, and get 10% off with the code IEBesties.
And also, right now, they are having a giveaway of their PR boxes. They're giving away 20. So if you go over to, I'm not sure if Josh posted it or Laura posted it. They're doing a giveaway, so if you want to go and try your luck at winning one of the PR boxes that comes with the little cup and the drink, you guys are more than welcome to do that as well.
Dude, delicious.
It's really good, you guys.
I wish I had ice so it could be like.
You don't have ice?
I didn't check.
You guys, so we're filming right now in Saul's house, and no one's here.
We want to prank him, but we don't know how.
Yeah, we literally went into his room and we wrote stuff on his whiteboard, and we're gonna wait to see how long it takes him to figure it out. He has like the days of the week, like Monday, Tuesday was written out, and then right next to it like stuff he has to do. And I added a 8th day, fur day. I put fur day, you guys, and I put on the side where he has to do, like, I put wax asshole. So I just want to see how long it takes for him to notice.
Dude, I love, like, as an adult, like, being immature sometimes. It's so funny.
And honestly, I generally feel like being a child, I feel like when you're a child, you're rushing to be an adult, and when you're an adult, it's like a journey. Yeah, and it's a journey of remembering that it's okay to be a fucking child. It's okay to act like a child. It's okay to have fun like a child. It's okay to want to feel young and act young. Mm-hmm. What is the appeal of wanting to be old? As a young person, I understand. I feel like it's because we don't have control of our lives. We're at the mercy of our parents all the time, mm-hmm. you know, whether we can't go anywhere or we can't buy the things we want or go to the places we want to go to. So I understand why we're in a rush to grow up. But then you grow up and you realize, like, oh, shit, you know, like, being, like, childlike in a sense or mm-hmm. teen-like is really where it's at. You know what I mean?
Because it's where you're at your most, like, bliss.
Exactly. You're just having a great time,
and
vibes, no bills.
You know what's funny? That keeps coming up too because I went to buy pre-workout, and all the flavors are like Jolly Rancher, like candy flavors, cereal flavors.
I hate that. I'm so sorry.
I just think it's funny because like as a child, they tell you like, don't eat candy, don't do this. And then we're adults and we want everything like candy flavored. And I'm just like, okay, so we're literally just adults finding how to make kids things mature so it looks okay that we're doing it or drinking it or insane. Whatever. Like fruity little drinks. Like why are we drinking at Mama Por Dios a little tub with a duck in it? Like that's cute and it's fun, but it has alcohol, so it's mature. Like it's an adult thing. Best. Yeah.
Or like even now with the whole phenomenon of like TikTok blowing up, like Hello Kitty stuff, or like you know, all these little like Disney characters. Like everyone is kind of like letting their inner child roam out. I know me personally, when I was a kid, my parents felt like, you know, any kind of like strawberry shortcake or Hello Kitty, like Barbies, like a lot of those things were a waste of money. So I didn't get to have any of those things. And now every time I go at, like to Ross or TJ Maxx, like I always buy like anything that's Hello Kitty that I think is fucking cute. Like I will fucking buy it. You know, it just makes me feel so happy and like so like young. I'm like, oh, I get to relive like you know, my childhood, and it's healing. Like it feels like, oh, like I finally have it. Like that little angry little girl inside of me that had to put it back at the store, you know, feels just so like content. And I love that. And also too, on the topic of, you know, being young again, I heard this interesting fact the other day. And I talked about how in order for you to create a new habit, you have to do it around 400 times. It doesn't matter. I don't know how long 400 times happens. I don't know how many months or days or weeks, whatever that takes. But it takes about 400 times of repetition in order for something to become a habit. But if you do that thing you want to create a habit of in play, in a fun way, like something that your body literally feels like you're having fun, like that giddy inner child feeling you get of just excitement when you're doing something. If you do it that way, it only takes 30 times for it to become a habit.
Really? You know what that reminds me of?
And I was shocked. I was like, what the fuck are you telling me? Like, if I do it in a playful way, but it has to be genuine. You know what I mean?
Right. Like you're having fun.
You genuinely have to feel like it's fun, like it's playful. It only takes 30 times. I was shocked. 30 times compared to 400, like that's insane.
Aww.
I was like, how can I make the gym feel that way?
There, you can find different ways to exercise. That's what I was just thinking of. I was like, it's kind of like rock climbing. Like, it's just a bunch of adults climbing rocks. And how many times as a kid were they like, no, bájate de ahí. Like, te vas a caer. Don't get on there. Like, it feels like that. You feel like you're a little kid just kind of like climbing around. It reminded me of an episode of Friends where Rachel like runs and she moves in with Phoebe. And she's like, oh, like, do you want to go run together? And Phoebe runs like a maniac. And Rachel's like super embarrassed to run with her. So she starts making excuses to not go. And Phoebe's like, oh, well, it's because you're like kind of a prude. Like you don't do things. She's like, I want to run like I ran like as a little kid. Like I'm just having fun and I'm just doing it. She's like, you're running to run. Like I'm doing it for fun. Ooh. And I love characters like that on screen that like help you see like, because they're always painted as the immature ones or whatever. But it's always the people that are in the show, at least, most genuinely happy.
Yes.
Or most genuinely, like, just...
Didn't Phoebe just seem so fucking delusional and bliss, like, all the time? Like, her character, I was like, dude, like...
You know what's so funny? Lisa Kudrow, the actress who played her, she said that she took that from a friend she had.
Oh, wow.
That her character, she really tried to embody a friend she had who was like, that no matter what would happen to her friend always reacted with either positivity or like in a comedic way where she was like, you know what, like, it's okay, like life is gonna be okay, like it's always gonna be okay. Because in the show, like Phoebe's mom like killed herself and she like lived on the street and like all this stuff. And whenever she talks about it, she just talks about it in such a funny, high-spirited way. Obviously, it's a show, but if she really took that from someone she knew, then it's so like nice to know that there's people out there that no matter what happens to them, they always find a way to be like, okay, you know what, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, because it always will be. I think, you know, no matter what shitty situation. I'm not saying that it doesn't feel shitty in the moment. I'm sure it does, not. But it definitely takes practice. But I think that once you can get it to a space where you're able to kind of let those two truths exist together at the same time. Like, yeah, I feel shitty, but at the same time, I'm going to laugh about it, or I'm going to, you know, realize that overall it's going to be okay. Because based off like my past, everything always does become okay, you know? So it's like, I know it will be.
Yeah. And I think I was telling you about that too. Like I feel like I've been going through a rough time, but because I'm not really crying to people, they'll be like, well, you're not really that sad. And I'm like, no, I can be sad and I can also have like enjoyment and they can coexist
100%.
together. It doesn't
100%.
mean that this one's not as valid or as true as the other
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And I noticed a lot of people have been telling me that lately.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad because I'm like, I don't want to be sad. Like, I don't want to look sad and be in bed for everyone to be like, oh, you know what? Steph is really struggling right now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I should just be able to say it. And because I'm telling you, like, just believe me. Like,
Yeah.
why would I lie?
Exactly.
Like, why would I lie about
Why
am I making this up?
Because you're an attention whore.
That's so true. I'm all getting the wrong kind of attention, even though I lie. Like, they're still bringing me down.
That's not what I thought was going to happen. That's hilarious.
Oh, my God. What were we talking about? The fat phobia?
Oh, so I watched this video. I also don't know if you could clip it or not because I feel like it explains it way better.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much it talks about how in the 16th century, plumpness is like what I guess scientific researchers, like when they looked back in that era, was praised. You know, being more on the heavier side was a good thing. But then once colonization started happening and more separation between races started happening, they started correlating being heavier to the color of Black people because they associate it with like being lazier. You know, they wanted to paint Black people in like this very negative narrative. So that was attached
Oh, like
to
being like big was a cause of like slugness and stuff like that.
So, and like, you know, just they just all the hate towards, you know, Black people, they wanted to associate them in like a very negative way. So that was something that was happening. And let me pause real quick because I want to find the name. I want to say her name of there was pretty much this slave that was stolen. Well, she wasn't a slave, but they stole her to become a slave from her homeland. And she had a very, very big behind. Like, it was really, you know, I'm assuming she had a very beautiful body. Like,
yeah.
She had a very big butt and a very, like, nice big boobs. And, you know, and I guess back then, white women were just very thin. That wasn't a part of their genetics. So when they saw, like, how big her body was, they kidnapped her and they brought her over here and they literally put her, like, in a fucking zoo pretty much for everyone to look at her. They experimented on her and they did so many things to her body, but men liked it. They liked her body. They liked that she had a big ass and big boobs. So they literally started looking down on white women for not having those features. So in turn, women started hating on these women for having these features. And sorry, let me get her name real quick. Her name is, but I guess in the book, Fearing the Black Body, the racial origins of fat phobia, it's the book. I can't find her name, but pretty much this slave, well, they captured her and they turned her into a slave. And that's when women invented those dresses, like in the show, like Bridgerton, how it shows like a big, like the dresses literally look like they have a big behind, but that's literally, it's all just, what is it? What's those things called that go under the dress?
I only know how to say it in Spanish, a crinolina?
Yeah, like it's literally just all that stuff, but it literally was invented because white women wanted to mimic. They wanted men to think that they had that body, you know, I guess imagine that that was their body and it really wasn't. And it's just insane that
the OG booty, like people wear underwear that are like padded and
yes, and that's so wild. Like, it's literally insane that back in the day, it just makes me think about me, even just myself, you know. I do feel like I have to work through a lot of like my internalized like fat phobia because I know I do have it. You know, I'm gonna be really honest, I do have it. I've worked through some of it, but I still see it come up from time to time. And one of the biggest ways that I've seen it come up for me personally, being completely honest, I feel like I've gotten over it in my own body because I know I'm a thin girl and like I know I used to really think I have to be Victoria's Secret skinny in order to be thin. Otherwise, I'm not thin. I'm fat. And that's how I felt all of high school. I would literally never wear bikinis, you know, and I've worked through that because I'm like, girl, like, I know I'm not fucking fat. Like, I feel like I'm comfortable with my body now. I don't feel fat. I know I'm not fat anymore. But I still see it come up in the dating world for me personally. Like, I know it's like not cool, and like I still struggle with it if I'm being really honest. Like I don't know why, like when it comes to dating men who are like on the heavier side, I can't do it. Like I cannot. And they could be super cool. They could even be like good looking guys, but for some reason like I just cannot bring myself to date someone that's on the heavier side.
And you feel like genuinely that's like generalized with like your fat, like your, like you said, like internalized fat phobia? Because I think
I do, just because like growing up, like it was something that was very shunned like in my family. I have so many like memories of like my tias and my mom and grandmas like all like talking about like how being big is like a very negative thing, and dieting, and even them, I saw them struggle with their own, because they're all on the heavier side, struggle like hating their bodies, and trying to be on diets all the time, and just little things like that I just really feel like I have internalized, like being fat as like something that's really, really, really like bad, and it's not good.
And it's crazy too, like when you would tell, your mom or your tias or whatever, like, oh, I don't want to wear a bikini, like I feel fat, like always, like sin falta, they were always like, mira esa pinche gorda trae bikini y ella no le da vergüenza. I hated when my mom would tell me that, because I'm like, I don't care about her. Like, and it's like you said, like, I feel like at least me, I definitely have, even right now, I don't think I have like necessarily internalized fat phobia. To me, it's just more of like, I always remember those comments, and I'm like, why do I have to compare myself to this person? Like, if she's comfortable, like, and I'm not, doesn't mean like, I don't know. I hate that comment. I hate when people are like, to make you feel better, they like knock somebody else.
Yeah. No, 100%. And literally, like, it's tough out here. Like, I know I saw this video of this girl, and she was talking about how, she's on her weight loss journey, and she looks great, and she showed before pictures, and she was really like on the heavier side, and she was talking about how ever since she lost all the weight and she's in the dating scene, she feels really angry at the world, because now all of a sudden people want to give her attention, and people like her, and people want to go out with her, and she's really angry for who she used to be, because she's like, I'm still the same person. Like, everything about me is the same. The only difference is that I don't have like these extra pounds on me. And she was like, why was I not worthy of being seen and loved back then? And it just really broke my heart, and I really do think about that in terms of me when I'm out in the dating world, and heftier men approach me, and I turn them down, literally, because I just feel like I cannot date someone that's heavier. And I have to always, like, I always go home when it happens, and I think about it, like, I think about it so hard, and I'm like, and I feel really like guilty. I'm like, dude, I feel really, really bad, like, because I know that it's something that I can work through, but I haven't wanted to do the work, because I just feel like it has such like a hold on me to just not want to date someone that's heftier. And I feel bad, because I'm like, dude, like, I don't want to feel this way. Like, I don't want to be shallow. I don't want to see someone as just like their physical body, you know what I mean? Like, people are so much more than that, and I literally, like, it's like, but how can I say that if my actions don't align with that? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm being like really honest.
And a lot of people correlate like going to the gym with being fat phobic, which I disagree with. But it is, I've noticed, like one of my best friends, she used to be heavier. I didn't know her at the time, but she tells me like we were talking about something as simple as like our high school experiences. Like, I'll ask her like questions, and she'll be like, oh no, like I didn't do that because like I was heavier. So, like I didn't get like this kind of attention in that one. And I'm like, that's so crazy. Like, because to me, like my fucked up head in high school, like I have a really difficult relationship with food, I think. And not because I was ever really fat, but because everybody made me feel fat. Because I think that's when I was like, okay, no one's ever going to be satisfied with the way your body is. Like, never. You're either going to be too skinny or too fat. No one's ever just going to be like, oh, you look fine. You look normal. But having that struggle of like, I felt really big, but I hated when like my cousins or who were like bigger than me, I could acknowledge that they were bigger than me, but I despised when anyone even mentioned their weight, because I didn't like people mentioning my weight. Yeah. So I feel like I was always very protective of like, oh my God, like don't make comments about people's bodies. Don't. And I think about that too, like dating like bigger men. To be honest, bigger men don't really approach me, but I was always very attracted to very, 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 very thin men. Not because I felt like I was fat phobic. I was just, that's why I was like, do you feel like it's the internalized fat phobia, or if just someone like body preference wise?
I don't think I intentionally am like, it has to be a skinny man. Because I have dated like a thick man. I think it's when it starts going over to like I get
what you mean.
Really, and that's just like, that's when I feel like, damn, like I can't. And I feel bad, like because I know, like how that video explained, back in like 16th century, being plump was seen as a good thing. There was no such thing as these negative narratives that were fed to the masses of how, like literally back then, if you were plump, it was a sign of wealth, because you had food to eat. You know what I mean? So it's like, no one saw people that were hefty with disgust, but because there's been literally centuries already of that conditioning of just hate towards people on the bigger side, it just feels like it's like a lot of to undo, and I just feel like, dude, like I can look as a friend, I can see someone and like love them and think they're like gorgeous, and even someone that I don't know, I can look at them and be like, dude, this person's beautiful, and like not think anything of it. But when it comes to dating, like being like romantically involved with someone, I can't. I'm just like, no, like, and that's what I feel like such like a bitch. I'm like, dude, like that's so fucked up, because I'm potentially losing out on a great person for that single reason. You know what I mean? And it's like so fucked up that I'm discarding them simply because of that. And I'm like, and I feel like I want to be really honest, because I don't want, it's something that I want to work through, because I think you
are like, if you're actively being like, this is not okay, like my way of thinking right now is not okay, like that's, I think, obviously a step. Nobody's perfect. You can't change, from one day to another. But I think even like you being able to admit that to yourself and to like an audience like this, like that's huge.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should feel bad about it. I just think, you're programmed a certain way, and it's really hard to get out of that mentality.
And I think, and you want to know another thing that I feel like I think about too as well. My family son bien carrilleros, like they love to talk shit. And I also feel anxiety around that. Like I think about so many instances in the past where I didn't bring certain people around to family parties because I just knew that if I did, my family was gonna like hop on their head and like be a bitch. Yeah. And to me, my family thinks it's a joke, but to me it's rude. And to me, I know that it's not gonna come across as a joke to my friends or to whoever it was that it was. And I have so much anxiety and nervousness around that, where it's like a lot of it, I feel like it's not even non-acceptance from me. It's caring too much about what my family is going to think and say. And also not wanting to put someone through that. Because I know that I'm not going to be able to change their thinking. And I know I love my family and I won't cut them off. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel stuck where I'm like, I don't know like what I would do in that situation. Because I know that if I were to like speak up, it wouldn't end well. It's not, they're not, you know what I mean? It's just that kind of like just all these things that I'm just like, fuck. Like,
and what's so funny that you say that? Because you know how the big topic of like bullying, like kids ya no aguantan, antes era pura carrilla, like you said, like, and I tell my mom that because my mom will never wear a skirt. Never. Because since she was a little girl, like, le decían que tenía patas flacas, patas de pollo, whatever. And my mom was like, a mí me decían esto y esto y esto. And I'm like, and then she's like, and it wasn't bullying. And I was like, Mom, you say it wasn't bullying, yet you're over 40 years old and you can't wear a skirt without thinking my legs are so skinny. And I'm like, so what do you mean it wasn't bullying? Like, maybe it was carrilla. Maybe, like, at the time, you didn't feel it like that. But look at you decades later. You're still thinking about comments that kids told you when you were little. Like, I don't, obviously.
And she did take it like that because it affected her.
Exactly.
She might have lied to herself and told her.
Oh, they were just messing
to make
around.
herself feel better, but subconsciously she took it like that.
Yeah. And even my little brother, he used to be like on the heavier side when he was little, and we would all call him gordito. And he literally sat me down and he was like, don't call me that anymore. And after that, I became very, very, that's what I'm saying. Like, I became very protective as to how people speak to each other, especially like my little brother, because it was like, oh, no come, oh, comes mucho, no quiere comer, ahora te atascas. Like, it's really hard to navigate emotionally that of like, I want to lose weight because everyone's telling me I'm fat, but then I don't eat and they're telling me that's also unhealthy. So how do I find this like middle balance, especially in kids that are like between like 6 and like junior year? Because remember we were talking about it, like you stretch, like your body the way it is as a child, like you're never gonna look like that. It's gonna completely change. So why add all these comments?
Yeah.
Without even like let them develop first, and then you can like start with the carrilla, like with the whatever. Even if you do, but it's just I think it's also another Hispanic thing, like gorda, flaca, güera, prieta. Like it's just like the physical attributes always becomes like your nicknames.
Yeah, and it's sad that it's impossible for people, like at least in our culture, to see how detrimental these nicknames and what we're being told is to us growing up. Because like going back to that thing you said right now about how es carrilla nomás, like they're just jokes, like it's not serious. When I was young and I think back to like all the jokes that were being like cracked onto me, I never felt like they were jokes. I always felt very much like this is personal. Like you might think it's a joke, but it hurts my feelings. And if it hurts my feelings, then it's not a joke to me, And I was labeled as a snitch when I was very small because I would go tell like my mom, like, Mom, like this, they told me this, or like, and I was like genuinely upset, like, and instead of being met with like, let's talk about it. Why did it upset you? And obviously I'm not blaming my parents. I know obviously they didn't have the tools to do this with me. I was met with like, they're just playing, like, you need to get over it.
No seas payaso.
Or like, stop, like, just stop telling me shit, like I was just met with that. Or if they did do something about it and my tias or like my mom's like did get the attention of my cousins who were telling me these things, I was put through more bullying because now my cousins were calling me a snitch and calling me this and stuff like that. So it's like either I couldn't defend myself, I couldn't say anything to the people that were supposed to protect me, or I literally just had to swallow it. And and it was hard because years of that, growing up with that constantly as a child.
And you can tell when it is carrilla and when people are just saying it to purposely, because I feel like that's also a thing. Like, les gusta ser en la gente enojar. Like, quiere llorar, quiere. Like, yes, bitch, you're saying mean ass shit to me.
And the thing too about carrilla is, I feel like carrilla, I can take it when it's a grown person who is sure of themselves, knows who the fuck they are, doesn't let people's comments get to them because they're so sure in themselves and their identity and their values and what they like believe about themselves. I think when someone is so sure of themselves like that, okay, let's go into some banter. But I feel like carrilla to a child, I don't feel like that's carrilla. Even if you think it's a joke, I think it's possible for someone to say it as a joke, but I don't think that they're actually aware of what they want to say. Because there's been times where I was a kid and I would say things as a joke and I really felt like I was saying things as a joke, but then when I would really think about it, I'd be like, wait, why did I say that though? You know what I mean? Like, do I really believe this? Like sometimes like my older sister, there was a time when she was chubby and like I would, obviously what's done to you, you're gonna do it. You're just gonna learn that that's the way you're gonna relate. So I eventually, when I got over the phase of being hurt by the carrilla, I started giving it. You know what I mean? Because I was like, okay, if I'm not gonna beat them, let me join them. That's kind of like what happens, You grow up and you're like, you're getting constantly being told stuff, and I had a choice to make. I could either be sad about this all the time, be hurt about it all the time, or I could just start fucking hopping on people's heads too. And like, that's gonna be my way of protecting myself. If no one's gonna protect me, I'm gonna have to do that. And that's when I started being a dickhead. I started being mean. I started calling my sister fat all the time. And I started, my sister who's like really thin, I would call her a stick. And like, really, you start, it's just a cycle of like hurting and saying mean things to each other and disguising it under, oh, it's a joke. But when you really get to the root of that joke, from the beginning of time, was it really ever a joke? No, it was hurtful. Yeah. But we learned that it didn't matter if it was hurtful to us or not. That's just the way things were. So we just adopted it because it's like, okay, that's just the way things are. Yeah. And we forget that it was actually really fucking hurtful. And literally, I feel like that's what I had to get out of, I literally I've been on this journey for like 2-3 years now where I won't comment on my sister's bodies. I won't say degrading things to them as a joke. Like because I know that they're still young, especially my 2 younger sisters. I know they're still trying to figure out who they are in this world. I know they're not on my level of thinking and these things. And I don't want them to have extra added negativity, even as a joke, if it's really not if they're not gonna take it like that. I know they might laugh it off,
Mm-hmm.
but it could. I feel like I think about so many times where I laughed the joke off in the group, but then I went home and I thought about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, why did they say that? You know, like, why did they, you know, like that really hurt me, you know, and I just had to kind of brush it off.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give that to them. Like, I don't want that to be another source of that, an ailing in their mind from me, especially the person that's supposed to protect them and love them. And me be an example to them of, you know, what self-love is, of what uplifting and like empowerment and all these things. Like, I want to be an example of that. I don't want to be an example of, you know, just more negativity and all these things. And you know, I don't blame myself. You know, I really do believe that it builds character in the sense of like, I do believe we're all supposed to go through something like that. Like, it's the way we've been raised. It's like, quote unquote, like the generational curses, you know, it's what we're all brought up in. But I do believe there's a point where we have a choice if we're going to continue doing those things or if we're going to decide, okay, like, it's going to do better, you know? And honestly, I'm not going to lie. There are some times where it still slips out, where I'll say some shit.
But nobody is perfect.
No, of course.
And, you know, like,
no, of course. No one is perfect, but I still think that it's a journey of being really intentional about what you want to say and how you want to like be with others, you know? And I do some of my slip ups and I don't beat myself up. And I know that my sisters can laugh off at things, but there are times where I will say things and I will feel, when I feel really like, oh, you know, like that was actually maybe a little too much, I will apologize. I will say like, you know what, like, I'm sorry about that. Like the other day I was I was irritated with my little sister. And my little sister has like social anxiety and like little things like that. You know, she's very much homebody, you know, and I do think that it takes her a little while to like learn things. It takes her like more time to learn things.
Yeah.
And growing up, I feel bad because we would always call her like, you're fucking stupid, you're fucking dumbass. Like, how hard is it for you to do that? Like, really? Oh, like, we would always like just berate on her for any little mistake, like any little thing, like that to us was common sense, but it wasn't to her. We would just like hop on her head and just be so fucking like mean to her and like say really, really, really mean things to her like that. And I just,
and then especially when there's like a lot of you attacking one and you guys are all laughing together.
Exactly. And that breaks my heart because it breaks my heart because I think about how that behavior contributed to her being so recluse and her being so like homebody and her being so afraid to try new things. She is so afraid to try new things. And that breaks my heart because it makes me think about all the times she did try and we called her out and we made her feel dumb for trying. And that literally, like, it breaks my heart so much. And like I said, I've been on this journey where I don't speak to her in that way anymore. And I actually try to find opportunities when she does do something and I praise her and tell her, dude, like, I'm proud of you. Like, you did that really well. Or, you know, you really tried hard and I saw that. And like, I just wanted to let you know, like, I try to be more uplifting because I think back growing up, we did shit on each other. Not once do I have memory of us uplifting each other. Saying like kind things, like saying like, you know, uplifting things. And it's like, I feel like that's the narrative for a lot of Hispanic households. It's like just the nice things we keep to ourselves. We might think them, but we don't actually are intentional about saying them.
And especially because when you do something like good, people are just like, ah, está bien.
Yeah, like it's
like, it's not
it's like, oh, you're just supposed to do that.
Yeah, like
you want praise for what you're
why wouldn't you be able to do that, right, idiot? Like,
yeah, and literally like I remember this memory where I told my mom, like, oh, like, I clean, like, you're always, like, shitting on me, but when I do something good, like, I just clean, you're not gonna say, like, whatever. And she's like, why am I gonna do that? Like, you're supposed to do that. You know what I mean? It's, like, that kind of mentality. So, my little sister, I remember we were in the kitchen, and I was having, like, a shitty day. And even if, like, I remember I was having a shitty day because Ezra was just triggering the fuck out of me that day. Like, and if you have a child, you know that, oh, girl, they could work your last nerve, and you could just really be, like, on edge.
Yeah.
And I remember she did something that was just, I just felt like it just threw me over the edge. You know what I mean? Like, I was already on the edge and she just pushed me over. And I remember, like, I snapped at her and I said, like, some mean shit. And I just felt so bad. I was like, dude, like, that was so uncalled for. Because it wasn't even anything serious. You know what I mean? Like, it was just really, like, not serious at all. And, like, I did. And I feel like one thing that I always felt like lacked in the relationship between me and my mother is she never apologized for when she did snap at me. And that was always something that was very hurtful to me because I was like, maybe our relationship wouldn't be as broken as if she took the time to repair the relationship between,
to reflect
in the moments, you know, that if she actually took the time to apologize to me. So that's another thing that I'm like trying to take into consideration. So I literally went to her room and I was like, dude, like, I know I snapped at you and I said this and I just want you to know that I really don't feel that way about you. Like, I just, I'm having a shitty day with Ezra, and I told her, you've seen it, and I was like, you didn't deserve that. I was like, I don't believe that about you, and I just want you to know that I love you, and I'm truly sorry. Like, and I took the time, and I could see it in her face, dude. Like, it's crazy to me how so much could be said through someone's like facial expressions, and she was just literally like, and she's not used to that. You know what I mean? Like, she's been used to a way of being for so long that I could tell it almost feels foreign to her, that she almost even felt awkward, you could say. Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Honestly, when I think about BetterHelp and therapy, it reminds me of the moment of after I had Ezra. It was really hard, honestly, to adjust to becoming a mother, the postpartum depression and anxiety that followed, and just navigating the big changes that were happening in my life, in my relationships, with everything that was changing in my life. It was really, really tough, and I genuinely feel like therapy at the time, it's what helped me stay connected to what I really wanted. It helped me navigate life. I was in a really, really difficult place, filled with a lot of love, of course, being a new mother, but it was very conflicting, and I definitely needed help, and very happy that I had the people in my life that encouraged me to get therapy and to get help. And that's what I want to do now for you guys. If anybody watching this is going through anything and you feel like you're just in a part of life, not necessarily with any huge trauma, it can be other things like adjusting to a new job, or adjusting to a life change, or trouble in your relationships, or trouble with parents, friends, anything that you just feel like you need a different perspective to give you a fresh view on any situation you're going through. I think that therapy can be immensely beneficial.
So if you guys are thinking about maybe starting therapy, please give BetterHelp a try. I 100% recommend it. It is completely online. It's designated that way so it can be convenient to you whenever you need it. It's right at your fingertips, so it fits your schedule that you may have. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire, and then you get matched with a licensed therapist. And you can switch therapists at any moment if you're not liking the service that you're getting, with no additional fee. So let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/IE and Besties today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/IE and Besties. Definitely recommend it if you guys need it. Now we return to your regular scheduled programming.
Awkward, you could say.
It's so like that right now that you're saying that. That's so true, because to me, I always tell people, like, if you're going to join the gym, like, don't join to lose weight. Yeah. Like, that's going to be a given. Sometimes it's not. Yeah. But it's completely, it has nothing to do with the way you're eating. Like, sometimes your body, you know, some people have thyroid problems. Some people have stomach issues, like, whatever. So I'm always like, just come in, like how I told you, 3 times a week, come in. Yeah. And I noticed that I've been training a friend, and like when she feels like she's not doing something right, and I tell her like, no, dude, it's okay. Like you're trying, and let's work through it. Their reaction is always like, no, like I'm just fucking it up. Like, let's just do something else. And I'm like, no, like it's okay. Like you're right. Like it's always that reaction. Feels with awkwardness.
Like, what the fuck? Like, you're just nice to me right now? Like, you're not shitting on me right now?
Exactly.
No, yeah. And it's kind of nice. It's like bittersweet, you know. It's like sad to see that that's how it is, because it's like, but it's sweet to see that you're planting a seed, you know, like for a new way of being. And that I think is really beautiful, because not to say that I'm never gonna not joke around, you know what I mean? But like I said earlier, I feel like joking is,
it's because, you know, like, let's say like the tias are all hanging out, and you know they're internalized
the passive aggressive
issues.
Shit.
Yeah. Like, and then they start shitting on you. You're like, bitch, like you're just saying that because of you, but you're still making me feel bad.
And you literally don't. But I feel like also too, like, at least me, something that's been so, seeing it that way has helped me to not feel bad. Where it's like, where I know you're projecting your bullshit onto me right now. And it doesn't make me feel bad anymore, because I know who I am. And I feel like that's the work that I was telling you earlier. Like, 2 people that are sure of themselves, that are confident, that know who they are, and they banter, they're not going to be offended if you're like, you're stupid, dumb bitch. Because I know I'm not a stupid, dumb bitch. I might have done a stupid, I might have had a stupid, dumb bitch moment. A moment. And we could laugh about it. Right. But I'm not going to internalize that and feel sad about it, because I know that I'm not. You know, and I feel like that's when it's okay to joke that way.
Exactly.
But when you're not, when you know, and I feel like you can tell when someone is not there. I feel like that's when you need to tread lightly with the jokes, especially if it's someone that you care about and that you love and that you want them to feel good about themselves. I feel like there's almost this kind of narrative of like, if I can't joke with you, if I can't be funny with you, then I just don't want to be around you. And it's like, you're missing out on so much more like richness from your relationships if you just not adopted that idea. Like you don't have to be shitting on each other to have a good time all the time. That's not, you don't need that. I mean, it's fun.
And
don't get me wrong. It's really fun.
And it transcends.
It's really not.
Like, remember I think it was you that I told that. I was like, I feel like I thought being friends with someone, like the ultimate friends was that we were gonna talk shit about everyone else. But it was because like when I was younger and the people that I was hanging out with, it was the people that I really wanted to be around and I really looked up to. That's what they were doing to me. Like they were like, don't get mad. Like no seas chi. I was always the chillona. Like everything made me cry. But no one ever realized, like, you guys are making me cry. Like, I'm not crying for fun. You guys are making me cry. Like, literally. It's not me. And I was always la chillona, like, ya va a llorar Stephanie. Oh, ya está llorando.
Quiere llorar.
¿Pa qué lloras? ¿Pa qué lloras? And I'm like, oh my, dude, my dad was the king of quiere llorar. Oof. Like, he would do it until
you actually cried.
I actually cried.
Oh, God.
And now I'm like, now I cry all the time. Yeah. It is really hard though, especially with like
it's kind
weight and like physical attributes. It's really, really hard as a child to not take things personally.
Oh, of course, 1,000%.
And I'm very, very protective over stuff like that, especially because I'm like that with myself. Like the way, like if I'm like, oh, I'm fucking fat and like I hate myself and this and that. If someone that I know doesn't look like me and is bigger than me starts saying that, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like you're perfect. Like don't. Like stick on shit like that. Like you don't like, if you don't like it, like let's work on it, like whatever. But I can never do that with myself that I feel like I became so protective over the way people around me talk about themselves. Like I'm like, no, don't say that about yourself. Like, because I know that it feels so shitty.
It's a shitty feeling.
It feels so shitty and it's hard. Like
it is.
Trying to physically be okay with yourself is really, really, really difficult.
Yeah, trying to reprogram years and years and years of bullshit that we've been told is really tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough. But I think, like you said earlier, like having these honest conversations and like really being fucking honest with yourself and really looking at yourself and looking at what you're repeating, you know what I mean? Like if you're saying I do this, I do that, it's good to know that you're doing it, but it's action, being intentional about, okay, maybe I like you're maybe out with friends and you feel like a joke is coming up and you know that it's probably not, you know what I mean? Like really take at least just a couple seconds to think, why am I about to say this? And I know that's the hardest part, especially when you're in bantering, especially when you only have friends that banter in that way.
Yeah.
And I know, and me, don't get me wrong, dude, I love me a good banter sesh. Like, and I still struggle with that because, especially like, for example, me and you, let's take it, me and you. Like, me and you, like, I know that if I don't know, are you going to get upset? Are you going to cry? Let me know right now. You know what I mean? But like, I know that we all love to banter and we like to talk shit sometimes, but I like to think that I don't think you'll get upset, but sometimes I do think, and I'm like, damn, do I want to be this way? You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever want to make you feel bad. I hope I've never said anything that upset you.
Honest to God, I'm literally like thinking back right now, and I don't think you have. But I think it just goes back to we can banter, and I know
I'm not being
malicious, and I know that I'm like, if you've told me something that you feel like is,
malicious or
not even malicious, just like something that bothers you and like, or something internal that
I never have.
Yeah, like I'm never gonna use that as an attack to crack a joke. Yeah. At least I try to think that I'm not like that. And when someone else does it, I literally cringe so hard because I'm like, you couldn't just not have said that. Like you can just shut the fuck up. Yeah. Because especially like if you're like even like, I don't know, a group of more than two and you notice when a person reacts, and like you see the person like, oh fuck, and brush it off. It's so heartbreaking. It's so annoying because the other person's so clueless.
And I literally, my toxic trait is that I will call them out like in a subliminal way. Like I won't straight up be like, what the fuck was that about? But I'll hop on their head for that.
Yeah, but
like, you want to say, oh well,
what about you?
Like, yeah, like, I'll say some shit and then they'll feel attacked.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then they're gonna be like, oh, why are you attacking me? It was just a joke.
Yeah.
But you're completely unaware of the fact that you just hurt their feelings. Like you really just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But then see, my thing is like, then I will feel back, so I'm like, damn, like they're unaware too. You know what I mean? Like they're still on this like shitting on people train. Like it's just a way of relating.
But also you can tell, like some people are just I feel like we should also stray away from the narrative. Some people are just
dickheads.
Not good people. Yeah, like some people are just fucking mean.
That's true.
Because I've been in conversations with like my cousins.
And sometimes we just need to be on. Like you're a bitch.
Yeah, like you're just a bitch person. Some people are not everybody is nice.
They need to hear it.
And like a lot of my cousins are like mean, and I don't get it because I love them and I want to hang out with them. Not a lot, but I have a few who are like bitches, and I'm always like, why do I like hanging out with them? Yeah. Like they're maybe a bitch, but
I think it's what you know.
Maybe
it's like your comfort. It's like that shitty boyfriend that you're like, you're shitty, but why do I still want to be with you?
Yeah, like why are you so cool?
Right?
Like you're shitty, but like also
I feel like
why are we
that
laughing all the
applies.
time?
You know what I mean? Like I feel like that. Like we were talking about, it's with Bri yesterday. Like it's really about comfort. I think like it's we just.
Oh right.
You know, like it's one of those things where it's like being alone is so hard. You know, being by yourself. It's like we're not accustomed to it. That we're so used to just like we're putting up with the shittiness, even though we know it's not serving us. It makes maybe we go home feeling like shit, but it's better than feeling alone.
That's true.
And that's tough.
That's scary.
It's scary because if you don't, if you're not intentional about creating a good support system, you stay there.
Yeah.
And you stay surrounded by shitty people that don't appreciate you, that don't love you, that don't see you and celebrate you. And that's where I'm kind of at. Like, I'm letting go of people in my life that I thought were going to be in my life forever. And it's scary. It's scary because I do feel love for these people. I do love them with all my heart, and I wish them the best. And it breaks my heart sometimes when I think about it too much, because these are people that I wanted it to be in my life forever.
And nostalgia is such a strong emotion that when you think back and you're like, wait, the greatest moments of my life were with this person. How come, like, maybe we could just go back to that?
Or maybe we could just, like, work through it. You know? But then you just forget that you've tried to work through it many times, and it's just not. It's not working.
Or it's also not good when you have one good day and you're like,
10
wait,
shitty
this
ones.
isn't like that bad. Like I'm having such a good time.
It
like,
made up for the 20 shitty ones.
Exactly. And it doesn't.
And it doesn't. It feels good in the moment. And I also think it's important to acknowledge the scientific aspect of this, because this is really also like dopamine being released when we're with these people. Like there's literally chemicals in our body. It's not just what we're used to, like literally physically something is happening in our bodies when we are around these people as well that we're so accustomed to, and I think that's insane.
You know what's so crazy that you said that right now? I was watching a video on TikTok. I was doing some research
on TikTok. University.
No, it was an old interview, and they were talking about an experiment with they did with rabbits, that they put a rabbit in like a very distressed like
in cage, like a cage.
Yeah. Like they fed them very high cholesterol foods.
Oh, okay.
And they just left them. And then like another set of rabbits, they would give them the high cholesterol foods, but they would pet them when they were eating, and they would like show them love. And
and the cholesterol didn't affect them. Huh?
It did affect them, but it's not that it didn't affect them. It just, your brain, because you were in such a state where like of calm, that your brain would create a different chemical with the cholesterol instead of making it like poisonous to your body. Yeah,
it transformed it into something good.
Yes,
I saw that.
Isn't that insane,
dude? 100%, dude. And I feel like you can apply that to, I forgot this. I was watching this video a long time ago about food, actually, about how there's like kind of like the going back to like the placebo effect, where like those like medication, when they're testing out medications, they'll get like 2 groups of 10, and one they'll give them the medication and the other they won't. Yeah. But they'll tell them they will. And in that group, you'll still see like 80% like positive results. Right. But just for the power of your mind that you're thinking you're getting like this life-saving drug or whatever, it actually works. I feel like you could kind of apply that to like the food. Like that's what the video was saying, that a big part of why food affects us negatively is because we know it's not good for us. So we're eating it, but we're also worried. We're stressed about what it's doing to our bodies. We're gaining weight. We're like that guilt. Oh, we're not supposed to be eating this right now. Like all of these things we're telling while we're eating this food, as opposed to if we would be eating the bad food, but like you said, in a calm state, in a happy state, you know, feeling like grateful for our body just being nourished, it would have less of a negative impact than the opposing. And that's insane.
Dude, and it sucks because like I'm not even gonna lie, I feel like lately, like I just have been struggling so hard with food. Like I've been having like the most, I think since high school, the most difficult relationship with food lately. Like every time I eat, I feel so guilty. Every time I don't eat, I feel guilty. And like I've been super nauseous. Like I'm not pregnant, you know what I mean? I'm not sick. Like I literally eat and I throw it up. Like my brain is like, no, take it out. And it's not even in a bulimic kind of way. Like literally I will eat and then I'll go home and I'll be like, oh, like, okay, I had a tortilla. I had, okay, did I have enough protein? Did I have enough carbs? Did I eat too many carbs? Like, and my brain will literally make me nauseous, dude, and I'll throw up. And I haven't been able to keep food down. And I feel like lately, that's why I was telling you earlier, like, I feel like I've been struggling just with like my ego and my being, because I'm like, I don't like this person, but I want to like this person, and everyone's being really nice, and maybe I should change my hair and stop eating, eat more. You want to gain, like, I want to gain muscle, but I'm not eating it. Like, all these thoughts that when I start to eat, I'm like, okay, like, I don't want.
It stresses you out.
Yeah, like, I don't want to even eat. Like, I don't want to do it. And I'm really, 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 really. So when that video came up, I was like, I feel like something's telling me, like you need to calm down. Like, you need to figure it out, because I've gotten sick before. Like when I was in high school, I wouldn't eat. I would stay up all night because I knew that if I stayed up all night, I'd go to school, I'd eat a little bit at school, and then when I got home, I would nap all day. And then I wouldn't wake up until like 10 p.m. And then I would eat something small, and then I would just like not be hungry for the rest of the night. And it was like a cycle, and I got really anemic, and I literally ended up in the hospital. That's when all my stomach issues started like arising. So right now I feel like I'm in like, how do I get myself back to where I was literally at the beginning of my fitness journey? Like I feel physically like I look the best, but internally I'm like this is not healthy for me. Like I'm working out 6 times a week, and I'm eating maybe one meal every other day. Like that's just, it's not okay. And I know it's not okay, and I have no idea how to fix it. And I feel like it's because, like I was telling you earlier, like everything going on in my life, I feel like I've just been like rejection that I'm gonna cry. Yeah, like it's hard. Like you'd never know like what people are struggling with. So when you're trying to be better and help others be better, like it gets so conflicting in every single decision you want to make. Like something as simple as like right now, like I'm eating fruit. Like, okay, this is a good meal. I know it's a good meal. And then I'll be like, okay, I'm just not going to eat until later. But it's okay because I had fruit, and fruit is healthy, and I'm going to be okay then because I have all these vitamins. But it's not even nearly enough of what I'm supposed to be eating. So then I'm like, okay, how do I cram 3 meals now into the day? And I'm like, okay, and I eat and I eat and I eat. And I'm like, okay, now I'm super full. I look bloated. Now I'm fat. Now I'm gaining weight. And I'm just like, fuck, like, how do I manage that? Like, how do I control my brain to be like, just calm down, just have a meal, like eat it, and you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But it's hard. That's why I was telling you earlier, like the gym it's not for losing weight. It's to be comfortable in your skin. Cause even like now that I'm getting like a little bit more like lean, like everyone, like I told you, my little brother's like, oh, if I put a bag over your head, like I wouldn't be able to tell if you were a boy or a girl, or some like stupid comments like that I'm like, fuck, like, am I getting too buff now? Like maybe I should stop working out. But if I stop working out, then I'm going to gain weight again. Or maybe I'm just going to lose all my muscle and I'm going to look like skinny and like sick.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't push the gym on people, because it's hard. It's hard to get better and then be like, but I'm still so unsatisfied with who I am. Like, how do I like, you're never going to stop working on yourself, obviously. But when you go into the gym with the sole purpose mentality of I want to lose weight, you're going to struggle so hard.
Yeah.
Because it's not for gaining weight. Like you can be 200 pounds and be healthier than someone who's 140 pounds.
Yeah.
Like physical attributes don't matter. It's literally how, that's why sometimes my friends like, oh, I didn't go to the gym today. I'm just so tired and I feel bad. I'm like, don't feel bad. Like, listen to your body. Like, your body is always speaking to you. You just literally have to sit down and listen to it. I think that's why I like the gym so much, because it does. I don't think I would have this awareness of like, okay, I'm kind of transitioning into like an eating disorder a little bit, because I know I had it before, and before I didn't know I had it.
Yeah.
And right now I'm like, okay, I can feel my body, like I haven't been sleeping, you know, like I can feel all those things, and I'm glad that even though I'm struggling, I can be like, okay.
Yeah, you're more aware now.
Yeah, like I need to
patterns.
sit down and I really need to think about it, and I really need to figure out how I'm going to move forward, instead of just being like, fuck, like, okay, well, whatever, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really hard. Like, I don't know. I feel like lately the human experience, I've been very aware of it, and and I'm aware of how difficult it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I've been like, I love that even like you or Pris or whatever, like all my friends have been in that journey of like, I just want to be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
Because being surrounded with people like that, it changes your life.
It does.
It really, really does.
It does.
And I'm all, thank you. No, seriously, it's so hard.
It is. It's harder when you're surrounded by people that don't support that. It makes it harder for you because you doubt yourself more, I think.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's easier when you know that people around you are supporting the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like. I remember hearing this thing that said a lot of people in your life when you're changing are not going to support you because you're literally killing the version of you that they have in their head. The version of you that supports their personalities, their traits, and everything.
Right.
You're killing that person. You know, imagine if you have a friend that you're always shitting on each other and then you stop shitting on them. They get something out of that exchange with you.
Right.
You know, and it's like you're no longer doing that. So they might react negatively to that because you're taking something away from them. And I remember I was a little like, damn, like it resonated with some of the friendships that I'm letting go, you know, that I'm like, okay, like I know that I have love for them and I would want them to be in my life, but I know that that's not what's serving me, you know? And that's, I feel like that's part of like you said, the human experience that's hard. It's that we're used to these things, you know, it's been how we've been for so long, not just like our behaviors, but the people in our lives and everything. And it could be really scary to really slow down and be like, okay, like what do I, like you said, listen to your body, like what do I have to do? Not just only listen to our body with what we're eating, but what we're listening to, who we're hanging out with, all of these things. And I feel like it could definitely be overwhelming when we're constantly, if we're not thinking about our body, we're thinking about what we're eating. If we're not thinking about what our friends are saying, what our parents are saying, it's like we're constantly like externalizing the experience of like the outside, and it's hard to bring your awareness back to ourselves. And it's like, and it's hard because when you come to yourself, not only will you find what you need, but you also will find the shittiest like parts of you that you know have been holding you back. You know, it's those voices that say you're getting fat, that you shouldn't be eating this, or you should be doing this, but you're not doing it, or
you're doing it, but you're not doing it well enough.
Yeah, or you're throwing up now, or here, you know, it's like it's that voice that we know it's not ourselves, right? You know, I feel like we can make that distinction. Like we've been told that those are voices that we've adopted, you know, whether they're from our caregivers, our friends, whatever, you know, like we adopt these voices in our head and that they tell us these things and we believe them because we've done that for years. So when we start creating that separation, it feels odd. It's almost like, no, like that is me. Like, you know, it's almost like you're struggling with yourself. It
literally feels like the little devil and the little angel, and you're just like,
how do I get away from?
How do I kick both of them out and then just figure it out?
Yeah, and literally, and I feel like that's one thing that helped me, to be honest, is writing it out. I feel like sometimes we repeat it to ourselves so much, and we speak about it a lot, but sometimes literally like writing it out, like not even. It helped me because I have a big whiteboard like that. I literally wrote phrases of things that I tell myself that I feel like have negatively impacted my life. And I also wrote next to them what I would want that voice to say, like the positive aspect of that. And I feel like that has really helped me because seeing it like reading it every day and reading it in moments where I'm calm, because it feels like there's a different tension when it comes up naturally and you're frustrated because you're like, why the fuck am I thinking this? Like, you know what I mean? As opposed to when you're calm and you're in like a neutral state and you read it, I feel like it creates space for you to actually think about it and be like, okay, where's this coming from? Do I believe this? Do I really want to set an intention to like change this? You know, there's not much friction. You're not going to be fighting it, you know, because you're not really struggling with it. It's something that you're intentionally choosing to do. And I feel like that's helped me for sure a lot with like, okay, but we got to get over that feeling of it being corny.
Yeah.
To do those things.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Because like, I feel like for me, that's why I would say that the first year of me wanting to better myself, I was lying to myself. I was telling myself that I was bettering myself, but deep down, I really just felt a lot of cringe and corniness around being a better person. And I was portraying to be someone that I was not, but I knew deep down that that wasn't me. Like I was still very much in like my behaviors. It was just like I was reading something and I would repeat it, but I wasn't really embodying it. And I feel like that's the initial like ego kind of having that grip on you of not changing, because the ego doesn't want you to change. It wants you to stay comfortable. It wants you to be the same person, because change is like scary.
Yeah.
And literally once you get past that initial cringe, like discomfort, it gets so much easier. But I feel like before you can get past the cringe and the discomfort, you have to accept that that's who you are as a person. And I feel like that's the hardest part. Telling myself, accepting that maybe I might not like my body, but I haven't put any effort into changing my body. So this is the body that I have.
Yeah.
I need to come to the realization that I really don't care to have that body that I say that I want. Because if I really did, I would have worked for it.
Yeah.
The realization that I am a bitch. And even though I hate being a bitch and I hate being mean to people, I am. And I had to accept that I'm a fucking bitch and that I hurt people's feelings. And that's just been a part of who I am. I had to accept that I had a gummy smile. And I had to accept that it was my biggest, to me, one of the things that I didn't like. And I would hide my smile and I wish that I could change it. And I hate it. I had so much hate towards it. But I had to accept that this is part of my body and I can't change it. And either I can stay hating it or I could try to actually love it, you know. And everything comes from acceptance, you know. And the first acceptance might be hard and it might feel shitty, but the more you really start being okay with the acceptance, the love will follow. Yeah, the love will follow and the compassion will follow around who you are as a being, human being. And like I used to hate when people would say you can only love yourself into change. You can't like hate yourself into change.
Oh, I love that.
And I used to be like, what the fuck do you mean I can't? Like, watch me. You know what I mean? Like,
you're a bitch, challenge accepted.
If I pick on myself enough, I will, you know what I mean? And yeah, you might create some changes, but they won't be sustainable because you're still going to hate yourself at the end of the day. Yeah. And literally like, and when I came to that realization, I was like, okay, like I don't want to keep hating myself. I actually want to love myself. And not just for me, but the vision of the life I want to have, not even like materialistically, but the kind of people I want to have in my life that see me, that love me, I'm not going to be able to attract those people and sustain those people if I hate myself. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to give something that I don't give to myself. And I used to not understand that concept either. But honestly, like this journey, like you said, like the human experience, it really is a slow one and it's never ending. We can't expect to change from one day to another, and we can't expect to have it all figured out, and we can't be perfect. We're never going to be perfect. We're going to fuck up forever until the end of time. But I do think that we can get better at things. Yeah. And that we can, there's never not enough love for yourself and for the people around you. Like love is not something you describe, something you give. It's something that you are. And I think that the more we try to tap into that, the easier it is to kind of let the change happen. You know? And I feel like that's I don't know, my little rant.
Dude, you know what's funny when you were saying like writing it out? Yeah. Whenever I try to do that, I'm like, my hand gets tired.
It starts nice and you start like that.
Just scribbling.
Like the Regina George is fugly bitch. Like literally, dude, it's hard. And sometimes you do have to do that. Yeah. Sometimes you do have to write out the shitty things. I have this journal entry that I read sometimes and it makes me laugh now, but it was so chaotic and like so mean.
But dude, it's like, even like sometimes you need like to. Something as simple as like Saul will message us and be like, give me some fun facts, looking for sponsors. The way we struggle, dude, the way we just tell Saul, you think of something and then he'll say it back to us and I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's is me. So like, cute. That's so cute. Literally. And we literally cannot figure it out for ourselves.
Dude, literally Saul texted us the other day that we had to share some fun facts about ourselves for I forgot what.
And
The
we
way
were
me
like,
and Steph
"One
were
fun
blank.
facts."
The way me and Steph were like, what fucking fun facts? Like, they already know we're doing this podcast. That's why they hit us up.
That's the funnest
That's
part
the
of us.
funnest fun fact we have. Like, being a mother, I don't think is a fun fact. What do I say? Like,
and then Saul will just bring something up and I'll read it and I'm like, oh, I do think that. Like, I do think that about myself, but I cannot figure it out. Like, I cannot, like, actually make it up.
And that's why we need those people around us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why sometimes we need people to tell us about ourselves. We need to hear it.
The other day, that's why, okay, I know I hype him a lot, but I just think Saul is such a genuine person, like one of the most genuine person. And the other day, I don't remember what I said. He was like we were talking about like a project, and I always tell him like, thank you so much for thinking about me.
Yeah.
And I always think about that because I'm like, why? Like, why are you picking me?
Yeah.
And I think I just said like, oh, thank you so much for picking me, like something like that. And he literally just put, dude, you're a star. Dude, the way I sobbed, like I literally was like, oh my gosh, like, cause I don't know if he meant it.
Yeah.
But dude, it just like really, really, really like, I just don't see myself like that.
Yeah.
So whenever like you or like Saul or whoever like tells me stuff, I'm like, just believe it because you love these people and they don't really have a reason to lie to you.
Why would they lie?
Like what is the reason that they would just make this up about you?
Yeah.
And if they are making stuff up, they could just as easily make up something negative and they're not. Yeah. So it's really, 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 I love you, Saul.
Yeah, and the fact that it moves you in such like an emotional way only shows that is in you. You know what I mean? I feel like something that's not true is not going to move you. You're not going to, it's like when someone, like that example is like if you're a thin girl and someone calls you fat, you're not going to feel shit because you know you're not fat, you're thin. And I feel like that's the same thing. If someone's telling you something and it's moving you in an emotional way, it's because it's in you. It might feel hard for you to accept, but it's in there somewhere. And that emotional reaction is tugging at you like, hey, Steph, like that's true. Like it's time we start believing it. You know what I mean? Like, and literally you have created, even like the fact that you show me like all these videos of you recording yourself at such a young age and you like being so comfortable in front of the camera and like being silly and goofy and like mimicking all these accents and these little skits and everything. I just think that's so cute, you know, that you've had that in you like for so long, you know, and that's finally getting to shine. And not just in the podcasting world, but also, you know, in your fitness world and also in just the way you are with your friends. You know, you are a star, you shine, and everyone sees it when you walk into a room, when you speak in front of a camera.
But I think when he said that to me, it was just more of like, I feel like how you said right now, like you shine. I feel like I shine because because I'm surrounded right now by so many wonderful people, like I'm shining because like your light is reflecting on me. Like that's what I always feel like when someone really nice says something nice to me, I'm like, I'm only that person because you're this person to me. And
honestly, and I feel like that's what human beings are. We're mirrors to each other. And I don't know if you've heard that expression before, but what gets a negative reaction out of you is only mirroring something that's inside of you. You know what I mean? Like if someone causes such a negative reaction in you, take a look into why. Like really, like be completely fucking honest with yourself. And sometimes it's gonna be a rude awakening, and it's gonna be a hard pill to swallow sometimes. But I feel like you cannot get anywhere without accepting that first. And I feel like the same is said about the opposing, the positive things. You know what I mean? Like you said. I feel like you guys reflect that, you know, and it's like I see it because you have it, and I agree wholeheartedly that we also reflect the positive things, you know, and if you feel like you're able to take up that space more and actually shine because people around you are doing the same and they're giving you that space for you to do it, it's kind of like giving yourself permission to be that person that you know you are. You just kind of needed that. I feel like it always starts that way. Needing that validation to let yourself be that way, and once you start being that way for so long, you stop needing the validation to shine.
Like you your walls learn that wall has been broken
learn
down.
that you can be that person on your own 2 feet. That's why I feel like
we came full circle, guys.
We solved all of the problems. And I feel like that's why good friends are important.
Yeah,
they're really important.
I used to hate the like, oh, you are who you hang out with, because I'd be like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I'd be like, never.
Not me. She's a whore. No, but it's so true. That was I feel like that was an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Thank you for
letting
me go off. It's because all day I've been telling Vanessa I've been struggling, but But thank you, besties, for watching. I think we're gonna end it there because felt like a nice.
We need a moment to process everything.
Yeah. And honestly, I hope you guys don't like judge us for some of the things we say. I know sometimes they can come across like that we meant it a certain way, but honestly, like I feel like something that I've learned with this podcast is that whenever I feel like I can't figure out what to do or how to approach something, we always come on here and I feel so much better. Like even if I'm having a really shitty day and I don't want to come, like once I leave here, I'm like, fuck, like you always say something that I feel like I really needed to hear.
Good.
And I want to thank you for that because
of course
it's hard. And it's weird because when we first started, I never thought I'd be able to be genuine on camera. And I didn't understand how like even like reality stars like would do it. I'd be like, how can you just have a conversation when there's like a camera literally pointed at you? And it's so true. Like at some point it just disappears. Like even the mic, like I'm like, oh, okay. Like
and I also think it has to do with like our audience. You guys have really been supportive and I think you guys have been really kind. And even if there's one negative comments, like the 50 positive ones like outweigh, you know, that those negative comments. So I truly also want to thank you guys for allowing us this space to really be honest. And like Steph said, like, you know, we said something that, you know, I feel like one thing that I love is that I'm allowed and I can get really vulnerable to like share how I feel and like my thoughts, and not only just for me to hear it out loud to help myself, but also if anyone watching feels the same way or, you know, you guys might be struggling. I think it's important to really be honest about every kind of struggle because I feel like someone else out there might be able to either comment something that can make you maybe see something in a different light or maybe say something that can help you, but also maybe start that ball rolling in other people's minds, you know, like maybe let me question this about myself, or maybe it'll get you thinking about, you know, maybe beliefs that you guys might have or whatever, you know. So I really am grateful for this like platform. I really do. I enjoy getting to do this with you. I really appreciate it. Like I really feel like I take something out of this as well from you. Like I love the way you think, honestly. And it's funny because you say that I help you when what things that I say, but sometimes when you're going off on a rant, I identify so much. And I feel like sometimes there's like little hidden things for me that when you say, I'm like, oh wow, like I didn't realize that. I also kind of agree with that. Like I also feel like I've been going through that. And it's like we said, we're like mirrors, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, damn, like I really appreciate that too.
Someone commented on the last video, like, I love watching Vanessa and Steph become besties.
Oh, yeah, I saw
and
that.
I was like, dude, I love that. Like, that is so true. Especially because now that I edit, like, I'll watch and I'm like, like, we're so funny. Like, like before, I feel like I would definitely, I feel like my walls are like, so
it was
down.
a rough start.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like we all had a little bit of like with anything, you know, we didn't know who we were.
We were so like vanity was huge. Remember, we would be like, what are you gonna wear? What are you gonna wear?
Yeah, like, it was very no, but here we are.
Thank you guys, besties, for loving us and accepting us. Also, I dyed my hair.
Looks amazing.
Thank you. But I do want to preface that I've been wanting to dye my hair red for a long time. I had dyed my hair red and I had gotten extensions like 2 years ago. And I didn't like the extensions and I didn't want to continue to dye my hair because I wanted my curls to come back. So I was like, when my hair gets to a certain length, I'm going to dye my hair red. So I am going through it, but that is not why I dyed my hair. Good. Wanted to clarify that.
All right. Clarified.
But thank you, besties, for watching. We love you guys so much. Please comment anything that you felt like resonated with you. If you guys feel like we need to watch what we're saying, comment that too. Let us know. We are so open to criticism now, which I'm super happy about because we used to be just like, fuck you guys.
Yeah. Not you guys.
Not you guys.
People,
the haters.
Yeah. And also share this video, you guys. I feel like, you know, if you guys resonate with this, if you guys feel like this conversation moved you in any kind of way, who knows? Maybe you guys have a following of girls or guys that might also identify with what we're saying, and it might be helpful to them to hear it as well. So, you know, share it on your IG, the link, or just, you know, a pic, whatever you feel like you can share, just so we can reach more people and get more besties. That would be amazing. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. And catch you guys on the next one.
Love you.
Bye.